Welcome to the deep dive. Today, forget the usual news cycle. We're taking a bit of an unusual journey right into a user manual.
That's right. Specifically, Operation Guide 3502 for a digital watch.
Exactly. We're going to try and decode this thing, figure out all the settings, modes, functions. And look, these manuals, they can seem pretty dense, can't they?
Oh, definitely.
But the mission here is to pull out the really useful stuff, demystify it a bit. You might even find some surprising features hidden in there.
Okay, so we've got this guide, this Operation Guide 3502. If you're looking at it, where do you even start? It can look a bit intimidating.
Well, like any decent manual, it gives you ways to navigate. There's the standard table of contents, obviously, that gives you the big picture, timekeeping, alarms, stopwatch, all that.
Right, the usual sections.
But what's really handy, I think, is the procedure lookup near the start.
Procedure lookup. Yeah, it's kind of like working backwards. If you know what you want to do, like, say, set a specific date alarm, you can look that up and it points you straight to the instructions. Saves you guessing which section it's buried in.
Okay, that's clever. Like a reverse index or FAQ right up front.
Yeah.
So that's navigating the manual. What about navigating the watch itself? Switching between those modes you mentioned.
Okay, yeah. The main button for that is C. You just press it and it cycles you through the core modes.
Which are?
Timekeeping, that's your main screen. Then alarm, countdown timer, stopwatch, and finally dual time. It just loops through that.
Quick, simple enough.
And here's a really useful tip.
Yeah.
Wherever you are in that cycle, if you just press and hold the C button for a second or two, it jumps you straight back to the timekeeping mode. Like a home button. Really handy if you get lost in the menu.
A panic button. I like it. Okay, what about seeing the display when it's dark?
That's button B. A quick press lights up the display. Works in any mode. It's an LED with what they call a light guide panel, so the illumination is pretty even.
Any catches?
Well, the manual does mention, common sense stuff.
Yeah.
It might still be hard to see in direct sunlight, and using it a lot drains the battery faster.
Sure.
Oh, and also it won't light up if an alarm is actually sounding at that moment.
Okay, practical stuff. So we know how to get around the modes and light it up. Let's do the absolute basic. Setting the time and date. How does that work?
Right. First, make sure you're in the regular timekeeping mode, the one that just shows the time.
Got it.
Then you press and hold button A. Keep holding it until the seconds start flashing.
Flashing seconds. That's the entry point.
Exactly. That tells you you're in setting mode.
Oh.
Now to move between the things you want to set, seconds, hour, minutes, year, month, day, you press the C button. Each press cycles to the next flashing item.
Okay, A to enter, C to move between settings. How do I change the flashing number?
That's the D button. Pressing D increases the value. So if the hour is flashing, D bumps it up.
D for digits, maybe, or date?
Could be. Now the seconds have a neat little trick.
Oh.
When the seconds are flashing, if they're showing 30 or more, pressing D resets them to 00 and adds 1 minute to the time.
Ah, for synchronizing.
Precisely. If the seconds are 00 to 29, pressing D just resets them to 00, no change to the minute. It's a quick way to get spot on with an official time signal.
Clever. What about the date? Do I need to worry about February 29th or months with 30 days?
Nope, not at all. This watch has a full auto calendar built in. Meaning it knows about leap years, it knows which months have 30 or 31 days. It's programmed all the way from the year 2000 up to 2099.
Set the date once.
And unless the battery dies and you replace it, you shouldn't ever need to touch the date settings again. It just handles it.
Nice. Okay, one more timekeeping thing. 12-hour versus 24-hour time, AM, PM, or military time?
Super simple. When you're just in the normal timekeeping mode, not setting anything, just looking at the time, press the D button.
Just press D, yeah.
Each press toggles between 12-hour and 24-hour format.
And how do you know which is which?
In 12-hour mode, you'll see a little P indicator on the display for PM times, so from noon until midnight. In 24-hour mode, there's no P, just, 13D00, 14D00, etc.
And that choice affects all modes.
Yes, the manual confirms that. Whichever format you pick in timekeeping, that's what you'll see in the alarm mode, dual time mode, everything. It's universal across the watch.
Consistent. I like that. Okay, let's talk alarms. That's a big reason people use these watches.
Definitely. And this one's pretty well equipped to get 5 separate alarms. They call them multifunction alarms.
5. Wow.
Yeah, numbered 1 through 5. And alarm 1 has an extra feature. A snooze function.
Ah, the essential snooze.
Indeed. Plus, there's also an hourly time signal. You can turn on that little beep every hour, on the hour.
Okay, and all this is managed in its own mode.
Correct. You press C until you get to the alarm mode. You'll see ALM or something similar on the display.
Right. So how do I set one of those 5 alarms, say alarm 2?
Okay, once you're in alarm mode, use the D button first. Pressing D scrolls through the different alarm screens. AL1, AL2, AL3, AL4, AL5, and then the hourly time signal screen, which usually shows 0.00 or SIG.
So D selects which alarm I'm looking at?
Exactly. So you press D until you see AL2. Then to set it, you press and hold button A.
Hold A again, like setting the time.
Yep, hold A until the hour digits for that alarm start flashing. And doing that, holding A, automatically turns that specific alarm on as well.
Good to know. So it's flashing. Now what?
Now you use C to move between the hour, the minutes, and potentially the month and day for that alarm.
Month and day for an alarm.
Yes. This is where the multifunction part comes in. You can set more than just a daily time, and you use D again to change the flashing numbers, hour, minute, month, day.
Okay, tell me more about these different alarm types based on month and day. That sounds interesting.
It is quite flexible,
Yeah.
depending on whether you set a specific month, a specific day, both, or neither, you get different behaviors. Okay, if you set the hour, minute, and a specific month and day, say 12th of June at 8 a.m., that's a date alarm. It only goes off once a year on that specific date and time.
Useful for birthdays or anniversaries, maybe?
Exactly. Now, if you set the hour, minute, and a month, but leave the day setting as like dashes.
How do you get the dash?
When the day setting is flashing, you just press D past 31 and it shows set.
Okay, so month set, day is dashes. What does that do?
That's a 1 month alarm. It'll go off every day at the set time, but only during the month you specified.
Like a reminder throughout December or something.
Right. Then you can do the opposite. Set a specific day, but leave the month as,
Let me guess. Monthly alarm.
you got it. Goes off at the set time on that specific day every single month. Maybe for paying a bill or something that happens on the 15th. say.
Oh, okay.
And finally, if you set both the month and the day to just leaving the hour and minute set,
That must be the standard daily alarm.
exactly, goes off every single day at the time you set. That's probably the most common use case.
That's actually really quite sophisticated. Way more than just a daily buzz.
It is. It lets you tailor alerts pretty specifically.
Okay, back to alarm 1. You said it has snooze. How does that work?
Right. So alarm 1 is special. When you set it up, you can choose to have snooze enabled. If it is, when the alarm first goes off, pressing any button stops the sound, but it doesn't cancel the alarm entirely.
It'll come back.
Yep. It'll sound again 5 minutes later. And it can do this up to 7 times in total. About a 35-minute snooze cycle.
7 times. Okay.
And while it's in that snooze cycle, during the 5-minute quiet periods, you'll see a flashing S&Z indicator on the display.
A reminder that you're not quite off the hook yet.
Pretty much. And that S&Z indicator, along with the regular alarm 1 icon, stays visible in all modes while it's active.
How do you actually turn the regular alarms 2 to 5 and that hourly signal on or off without changing the times?
Easy. Go into alarm mode with C. Use D to cycle to the alarm screen you want, AL2, AL3, AL4, AL5, or the 0.000 signal screen. Then just press A. A single press toggles it on or off. You'll see the little indicator for that alarm appear or disappear on the main display.
Simple toggle. And for alarm 1 with the snooze option, is it the same?
Slightly different. When you're on the AL1 screen in alarm mode, pressing A cycles through 3 states.
3.
Alarm off, no icon.
Yeah.
Regular alarm on, just the AL1 icon shows. And snooze alarm on, both the AL1 icon and the S&Z icon show. So you choose the mode you want for alarm 1 there.
Okay, that makes sense. Can you, like, test the alarm sound, make sure it's working or loud enough?
Yes. Stay in alarm mode. Select whichever alarm you want to test using D. Then just press and hold the D button.
Hold D.
Yeah, it'll play the alarm tone for as long as you hold it. Good way to check it.
And when an alarm actually goes off for real, any button stops it.
Any button pressed will silence it, yes.
What if you're in that snooze cycle on alarm 1 and you suddenly realize, okay, I'm actually awake now, stop snoozing? Can you cancel the rest of the snoozes?
You can. The manual says if you go into the settings screen for either the main timekeeping mode by holding A in timekeeping, or the settings screen for alarm 1 itself by holding A on the AL1 screen in alarm mode, that action will cancel any active snooze operation.
Good override. Okay, alarm's covered. What about timing things? It has a countdown timer.
It does. Press C, again, to get to the countdown timer mode. Probably shows TMR or similar.
Right.
You can set it anywhere from 1 minute up to 24 hours. When it hits 0, an alarm sounds.
How do you start and stop it?
D is the main button here. Press D to start the countdown. Press D again to pause it. Press D again to resume.
Start, pause, resume with D. How do you stop it completely and reset it?
To stop it fully, you first pause it with D, then press A. That resets it back to the starting time you originally set.
Okay. And setting that start time.
Same pattern as before. While you're in the countdown timer mode, press and hold A until the hours start flashing.
Hold A again. Seems to be the key for settings.
It often is. Then use C to switch between setting hours and minutes, and use D to increase the flashing numbers.
And it goes up to 24 hours.
Yes. And actually, if you set the start time to 0 hours and 0 minutes, 0000, the watch interprets that as one thing, a full 24-hour countdown.
Ah, neat shortcut. The manual mentioned auto repeat.
Mm-hmm.
What's that about?
Auto repeat is quite useful for certain things. If you turn it on, when the countdown timer reaches 0, it'll sound the alarm briefly, but then it will automatically restart the countdown from the beginning, from the time you set.
Over and over.
Yeah, it keeps looping until you manually stop it. Think interval training maybe, or reminding yourself to take a break every hour.
How do you turn that on or off?
You need to be in the settings screen for the countdown timer. Hold A until hours flash. While the hours or minutes are flashing, press the B button.
B, the light button.
Yep, in the specific context, B toggles auto repeat on and off. You'll see an indicator like ARPT appear on the display when it's active in the countdown timer mode.
Okay, interesting use for B. And you stop an auto repeating timer the same way. D to pause, then A to reset.
Exactly the same. D then A stops the current cycle and cancels the auto repeat until you start it again.
Cool. Now the other timing function, the stopwatch.
Right. Press C again to get the stopwatch mode, often shown as STW.
What can this one do?
It's a pretty capable stopwatch.
Hmm.
Measures up to almost 24 hours, 23.595999, so down to hundredths of a second.
Wow.
And it has modes for standard elapsed time, split times, and even timing 2 finishers in a race.
Okay, let's break that down. Basic elapsed time, like timing pasta.
Simple. Press D to start. Press D again to stop.
D starts and stops. Reset.
But once it's stopped, press A to reset it back to all zeros.
Easy. What about split times for laps or segments?
Right. You start the timer with D, let it run. When you want to capture a split time, like at the end of the lap, you press A.
While it's still running.
Yes. Pressing A freezes the display showing the split time and usually say SP or something. But crucially, the stopwatch keeps running internally in the background.
Ah, so it doesn't stop the overall timer.
Correct. To see the running timer again, you press A again. It releases the split display. You can do this multiple times to record several splits.
And when the whole event is over,
You press D to stop the main timer, then press A to reset everything to 0.
okay, that makes sense. Now this two finishes mode sounds specific. How does that work?
It's designed for when, say, 2 runners finish a race, one after the other.
Okay.
You start the stopwatch with D when the race begins. When the first runner finishes, you press A. This records their time as a split time, just like before.
And the watch keeps timing.
Yes, the main timer continues for the second runner. When the second runner finishes, you press D. This stops the overall timer.
So now the display shows the second runner's time.
Exactly. It shows the total elapsed time, which is the second finisher's time. Now, if you press A again,
Yeah.
it will switch the display to show the time of the first finisher, the split time you recorded earlier.
So you can see both finish times.
All right. Press A to toggle between the first finisher's split time and the second finisher's total time. And then one final press of A will reset the whole thing.
That's surprisingly detailed for a wristwatch stopwatch function. Pretty cool.
It's quite neat for casual races or timing drills, yeah.
Okay, timing covered. There's one more mode in that cycle. Dual time. What's that for?
Dual time, often DT, is just what it sounds like. It lets you keep track of the current time in a second, different time zone.
Handy for travel or calls overseas?
Exactly. And an interesting point the manual makes is that the seconds in dual time mode are always synchronized with the seconds in your main timekeeping mode.
So you see the exact same second taking over in both zones.
Yep. It's just the hours and minutes that differ.
How do you set the time for that second zone?
Once you're in dual time mode, press C until you get there. It's the familiar pattern. Press and hold A until the hours setting for the dual time starts flashing.
Okay.
Then use C to switch between setting the hour and the minutes for that second time zone, and use D to change the flashing numbers.
And press A again to finish.
Press A again to lock in the settings and exit the settings screen for dual time.
Straightforward enough. We talked about the backlight briefly earlier with button B. Any other details on that?
Just a couple of points from the backlight precautions section in the manual.
Hmm?
We mentioned visibility in sunlight and battery drain.
Right.
It also specifically states the backlight turns off automatically whenever any alarm is sounding. Probably a power saving thing, or maybe just to avoid confusion.
Makes sense. Use it when you need it, but be aware it uses power.
That's the gist.
Okay, we've covered all the main modes. Are there any other general operational things mentioned in the guide? Little tips or features?
Yeah, a couple of things under reference information. One is auto return features.
Auto return.
Basically, if you're in any setting screen, where digits are flashing and you don't press any buttons for 2 or 3 minutes,
Yeah.
the watch will just automatically save whatever settings you put in up to that point
Huh.
and exit the setting screen, returning to the normal display for that mode. Prevents you accidentally leaving it in setting mode and draining battery, I suppose.
That's thoughtful.
Anything else?
It also mentions data and setting scrolling. Just a reminder that when you're using D to change numbers or cycle through alarms, holding the D button down makes it scroll through the options much faster.
Standard speeding up scrolling, yeah.
Yeah,
Useful if you're setting minutes from 0 to 55 or something.
exactly.
All right. What about the nitty gritty, the technical specs? What does the manual list?
Okay, it gives the accuracy as about plus or minus 30 seconds per month at normal temperature. Standard for quartz.
Okay.
Time system. 12-hour and 24-hour formats. Calendar. Full auto calendar, 2000 to 2099. Alarms. 5 multifunction, daily, date, 1 month, monthly, with 1 snooze alarm, alarm 1, plus the hourly time signal,
We covered those.
countdown timer. Measure needed is 1 second. Input range is 1 minute to 24 hours. Has the auto repeat function.
Stopwatch.
Yeah.
Measuring unit, 1100th of a second. Capacity, nearly 24 hours. Modes are elapsed time, split time, and those 2 finishes we discussed.
Got it.
Dual time for the second time zone. Backlight is an LED using a light guide panel.
And the battery.
It uses one CR2032 lithium battery. And here's something interesting. They estimate the battery life at approximately 10 years.
10 years. That's impressive.
It is, but it's based on specific usage, assuming 1 alarm operation for 10 seconds per day and 1 backlight use for 1.5 seconds per day.
The standard, your mileage may vary, disclaimer.
Pretty much. Use the backlight and alarms more, and obviously it won't last quite that long. And finally, the usual note that specs are subject to change.
Well, that feels pretty comprehensive. We really have dived deep into this Operation Guide 3502. It's kind of amazing how much functionality they pack in.
It really is.
Yeah.
And what strikes me is the thought behind some features, like those different alarm types, daily, date, monthly. That's not just basic. It anticipates different ways people might actually need reminders.
Yeah, it goes beyond just waking up.
Right. And that too finishes stopwatch thing. That's quite specialized, isn't it? Shows they were thinking about specific use cases beyond just simple timing. It's clever design, working within the limits of 4 buttons and a small screen.
Absolutely. So for you listening, hopefully this deep dive has made that Operation Guide 3502 feel a bit less like a mysterious codebook.
Yeah, maybe grab your watch, find that manual, or look it up online and try setting one of those date alarms or playing with the stopwatch splits.
Now that you know the secret button combination.
Exactly. You speak the language now.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with. Thinking about all these features, multiple alarms, timers, stopwatches, dual time zones, all constantly available on our wrist. What does that say about how we approach time now? How reliant have we become on these little technological assistants to manage our schedules, our workouts, our reminders? Has it changed our own internal sense of time management?
That's a fascinating question. How much do we outsource our planning and punctuality to the technology we carry? Something to ponder.